And now, it's Boomer Life, lifestyle discussion designed to make your life more engaging, meaningful, and complete. Celebrating the baby boomer generation, this is Boomer Life on CIL 650.
This is Boomer Life on CIL 650. I'm Joanne Sutton. Thanks for joining us today. Now, for the next hour, we're going to be speaking with our friends from the Alzheimer's Society of British Columbia. And we hope to focus today on the importance of volunteers. Once again, we welcome CEO Maria Howard to the show. Maria brings a very strong background of leadership in the healthcare sector and a commitment to operational excellence to the society. Now, Maria is a hands-on executive with a personal connection to the Alzheimer's Society. So, Maria, I want to say thanks once again for being here.
Oh, thanks, Joanne. It's always great to come.
It's great. Beautiful day, too. Beautiful month. And before we launch into our very specific topic today of volunteers, maybe you could just share with us a little bit more about yourself, maybe why you're so passionate about the Alzheimer's Society and your personal goals to truly make a difference.
I started my career out a number of years ago in rehabilitation and really was attracted to the rehab field because I really wanted to be able to help people have the best quality of life despite challenges, their journey, and really just help people always really see their full potential. And that is something that I've carried throughout my career and all the many sort of opportunities I've had. I think as time went on and eventually my mother was diagnosed with MS and I began to see her, continue to be a strong, confident woman, but begin to have things happen in her life that she hadn't planned for, that she hadn't thought about. And my dad then also beginning to see their partnership and how their life was changing and recognizing that she also was going on a journey. And then as she progressed in her MS and began to have dementia-related symptoms as a result of that, I really began to understand that I needed to help her and honor her and continue to give back. So the opportunity to come to the Alzheimer's Society and support the society and the many families in our province who are touched by this disease, whether they're living with them or it's a neighbor, really began to fit really true for me. And I just, when we speak with families and I hear them tell their stories and I hear them talk about if only they had more support, it just makes me feel just even more driven to reach out and share how our society can help people. When I hear people talk about their stories, about challenges, but say they have found that quality of life and they have found how they can continue on, it also just drives me to keep working. So it really is an honor to be able to be a part of this society.
Well, we thank you for being so open and so honest, and I think you've touched on some very key points that I don't think a lot of what you're bringing to the table is necessarily learned behavior. I think you were likely born with that empathy, and then the personal connection has driven you to seek bigger goals, to ensure that your family gets the proper care and that others that are in this situation, that they're not alone, that they get the proper care as well.
Well, when you work with people, you begin to learn really, you begin to learn time and time again that everybody has something special they can offer. And everybody, I believe, really does want to give back into a community and want to help. And so if we can find ways to bring people together to do that, I think we're stronger. And the Alzheimer's Society of BC is exactly about that. And that's why it's so great actually to come and talk to you today about this week of National Volunteer Week.
That's right. Well, it's the month of April, and it is Volunteer Week. So let's just recap a little bit, Maria. Last month, when you were here on the show, we had a very rare opportunity to dig into dementia research that was being done right here in this province out at UBC. We had the great honor of speaking to Dr. Mari DeMarco, who studies and develops diagnostic tools. Now, Dr. DeMarco had some great thoughts on why a diagnosis of dementia is important to maintaining quality of life even when a cure for the disease hasn't been found. So we also spoke with one of Dr. DeMarco's fellow researchers from UBC, and that was Dr. Cheryl Wellington. Dr. Wellington spoke a little bit about the relationship between brain health and heart health. And finally, we had a conversation with Dr. Larry Chambers, and Dr. Chambers is the scientific advisor for the Alzheimer's Society of Canada. And being able to speak to researchers this way is always just such an enormous opportunity. We learned so much from these scientists about the value of research and the clinical trials that are being done. So we're going to fast forward to today. Here we are in the month of April, where people across the country are celebrating National Volunteer Week, which is happening right now. So it's a perfect time to recognize the work that's being done by volunteers within the Alzheimer's Society of BC and the impact that this has for families in British Columbia who are actually living with Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia. So before we begin, as always, I just wanted to remind our listeners that there is so much information about the Alzheimer's Society online, as well a wealth of resources for you. Please visit the website AlzheimerBC.org. So, Maria, this week you and I are going to be talking about the role that volunteers play with the Alzheimer's Society. So, can you share just a little bit of the history of the relationship with the Society and its volunteers?
Volunteers is really where our society began. So back in the very early 1980s, a group of people came together and really began to talk about how Alzheimer's was impacting their lives and also the people around them that they were close to. And they all came together with a commitment to do something and change, hopefully change how people who are living with the disease in BC get support and get help in a number of different ways. And so those individuals as volunteers began to set up the society, and from there the society has grown over the 35 years. In fact, it is our 35th anniversary this year. Volunteers play a significant role. When we look across our provincial society, we have over 500 volunteers that support the society in a number of different ways. And I think it's really exciting when you think of the people who are volunteering, because volunteers come in different ages, they're different parts of their life, they have different roles, and so we are just really lucky to have so many people who are dedicated, and we really are able to accomplish what we do because of such great generosity and the skill set of our volunteers.
I think it's great to learn, and this is new to me, that the Society is 35 years old, but it actually started with a team of volunteers, which maybe you can expand a little bit about the actual value that volunteers bring to the Society if they were the ones that actually started the Society.
Well, I think it was the real appreciation that someone needed to advocate for families who were living this disease, where there wasn't a very good understanding about what it meant to have Alzheimer's. Today, but certainly then it was still seen as just a normal part of aging. And they understand that it wasn't, and they understood that something had to be done, and an advocacy voice and a voice to help people get the care they needed, because it wasn't yet recognized in the healthcare system as something that was important to give funds to or even to support. And so through their connections, their networks, their generosity, through their time and their money, they began to grow a whole support network that has come to the society today.
So I know so much of this recruitment, so to speak, would be done by word of mouth, or people that would be personally touched by the disease. Or do you actually have a campaign where you try to recruit volunteers? How is this done?
Well, we recruit volunteers in many different ways. Volunteers play a significant role at all levels in our society. So our board are all volunteers, and that they play a really important role in governance and setting the strategy and the direction for our society. And those volunteers are very key, because they are connections into the communities and really have a passion for making a difference. We have many volunteers who support our support programs through our First Link program, through our dementia helpline. They help run the support groups. They come and they meet with families. We have a number of volunteers who support our events. We offer a number of events through the year. Our walk is coming up on May 1st, and it's volunteer committees who are putting in endless hours to support that. We also have a whole entourage of volunteers who just help with day-to-day things like, stuffing envelopes, answering the phone, helping us to get all those little small details done. But our recruitment is really, just through our continual network of people and asking people to help. But it's still important to be able to have, an ability to understand the person's connection and why they're coming, because one thing we do know is that we need to continue to provide services that are quality and consistent for the families who are going through this. So we want to have people who have that passion. We also need to have people who have the knowledge so that they can continue to help families get the support that they need.
Well, I'm glad that you mentioned that your board was made up of volunteers as well, because we're very happy to be able to introduce a number of influential volunteers to our show today, one of them being our very first guest, which is going to be Michelle Buchanani.
Michelle's a great support. She's been on the board for over 3 years, and she brings a real passion to helping us as an organization think about the ways that we can continue to grow. She has a great connection and network, and so is always looking to help, increase awareness and keep the conversation going with so many people. That's again another element of volunteers, is we have to let people know it's okay to talk about Alzheimer's and dementia, and that people are not alone. And so our board directors play a real key role in keeping that conversation going with many people and helping people understand that they are not alone. There is a support service there for them.
Great. We really look forward to speaking with Michelle as well. We're also very fortunate to have on this show Krista Frazee. She's going to be calling in on the phone, and she will be talking about the role that volunteers play in the Alzheimer's Society support groups.
Yes, and so the volunteers who support our support groups and our dementia helpline are again very critical. We are a provincial society, so we have programs throughout the province, and we want to ensure that all communities have access to that. So volunteers play a really big role in ensuring that those services continue to be available to family. And Krista plays a really important role in, again, ensuring people have the right information and the right support to be offering the best kind of assistance.
Oh, she'll have some great information for us. And then finally, in preparation for the much-awaited Investors Group Walk for Alzheimer's, which is May 1, if you haven't marked it on your calendar yet, please do so. We're going to be speaking to Todd Woodward today, and I know that Todd knows a lot about volunteers.
Todd is great. The Investors Group Walk for Alzheimer's on May 1st is a wonderful partnership between Investors Group and the Alzheimer's Society of BC. And for the over 20 walks that are happening in the province, the Investors Group plays a really key role in having volunteer committees support those walks. And Todd is one of the walk chairs and brings a lot of energy and creativity to the walk. And I know that the opportunity to build awareness and reach out and also fundraise is really important to them.
Todd's going to be very helpful, and I understand he's running the event up on the North Shore.
Yes.
Yeah, great. This is Boomer Life on CL 650, and we're celebrating Volunteer Week, talking about the commitment of volunteers that help out the Alzheimer's Society of British Columbia. CEO Maria Howard is in our studio today, one of our special guests, and if you've ever considered lending a hand to the Alzheimer's Society, we're about to introduce you to a few very special people who might inspire you to make that call to say, sign me up. That's all next on CL 650.
Celebrating the baby boomer lifestyle. This is Boomer Life on CL 650.